Good evening and welcome to Brandon Stadium for tonight's Elite League action as the Coventry Bees take on the Birmingham Brummies. A hastily rearranged fixture after the original staging was rained off on Monday, both sides desperate to get into action after a wet bank holiday, the Bees racing their first home meeting for 3 weeks and looking to bounce back after a disappointing defeat on the road at league leaders Kings Lynn last evening. The Bees race tonight without Dane Kenneth Hansen, who's back in his homeland, and with no facility available, the Bees utilise the services of fast-track draft rider Lewis Blackbird, who's thrust into the main body of the team here this evening. For the Brummies, they're also missing riders, with Adam Skornishki on the injury list, and with Ben Barker and Paul Stark on Premier League duty, they call up 2 guests this evening, in the form of Australian Josh Krzyzonic and British Under-21 champion Josh Bates. It's been a season of struggle so far for the Brummies in 2014, but one of their rare victories did come at the expense of the Bees at Perry Bar back in April. So with the riders on parade, let's quickly run down the 2 team lineups. Going for the Bees at 1, it's Hans Anderson, Carl Howarth goes at 2, it's Ryan Fisher at 3 with Lewis Blackbird at number 4, Chris Harris at 5, Jason Garrity at 6 and Oliver Greenwood at number 7. For the Brummies, they operate rider replacement at 1, Dan Nermont goes at 2, it's Danny King at 3 with Liko Kavati at number 4, Josh Krzyzonic at 5, their 2 reserves, Josh Bates at 6 and Simon Lambert at number 7. So looking forward to a fine meeting here at Brandon this evening. Without any further delay, let's get on with the action and join your commentator, Dave Rowe.
So the first Elite League fixture at Brandon in 3 weeks as the Bees Speed and the Brummies go head-to-head. Both sides have been heavily hit by the weather over the last fortnight or so. 2 home meetings here at Brandon called off. The Brummies have had a spate of postponements home and away. The Bees have been riding away. They've had mixed fortunes. Big highlight was a superb victory at Poole a week or so ago. They had a tough night at Kings Lynn last night against a very impressive Star side, which also saw the loss of James Sargent with concussion. And tonight, both sides having to make changes for a meeting hastily rearranged. Should have taken place here, in fact, on Monday, but the situation with rearrangement such that they simply had to really go on tonight. So both have had to make changes. The Brummies using a rider replacement for Adam Skornishki, although we are told that the new Pole Bartosz Szmazlik is due to be in their team on Monday when they face Swindon in the league at home. But back to RR for Skornishki initially tonight, and Danny King takes that ride in white here in Heat 1. Partnered by Daniel Nermark, who does have a decent record here at Coventry at times. And for the Bees, Hans Anderson goes in red and Carl Howarth goes in blue. Howarth didn't have a good one at Kings Lynn last night. Anderson won a couple of races. The referee is Dave Robinson. The track conditions will be interesting. There's been a lot of new track curator work going on here at Brandon. It has, of course, been a very wet week, but it's been, thankfully, a dry day. And the riders coming into line for the opening race. Anderson late taking his position there on the outside, but it's Nermark on the inside. Howarth on gate 2, King gate 3, and Anderson gate 4. Into line then for the opening race. Green lights on and away they go. A flying start by the Brummies. Nermark gets out, as does Danny King. Birmingham 1 and 2 into the first bend. Howarth pegs it tight as King goes wide and flies around the outside. It's Nermark from King with Anderson now third. Howarth out the back, and they certainly launched off 1 and 3 there, did the Brummies. They haven't had many 5-1s in the opening race, if any, so far this season. They've had a couple, in fact, with the likes of Skornishki and Nermark. Generally, the Brummies number 2 does tend to win Heat 1, and that's happening here with Nermark leading Danny King and Anderson in third place. So different track conditions tonight for Coventry, but Heat 1 not going their way. As Danny King in behind his teammate Daniel Nermark, they'll need all of their top 4 to be flying, given they are using RR this evening, and it's looking good for them so far in the opening race. Anderson, after that late change of start position, really didn't get anywhere off the start line. He's chasing Danny King, but so far the Brummies skipper holding that second place. Nermark well clear at the front, King in second place, Anderson third with Howarth out the back after a brief challenge. That faded, and he's now retiring on the 4th bend, and the Brummies banging a big 5-1 in the opening race from Daniel Nermark and Danny King over Hans Anderson with Carl Howarth out the back. Great start for Birmingham then in the opening race. Anderson missed the gate off the outside. Nermark with a flyer from the inside. King was out there too, fended off the early challenge from Carl Howarth, and then they raced clear to take maximum points. So a great start for Birmingham as the race 1 is won by Daniel Nermark. Second place Danny King, Hans Anderson third, and it's Coventry 1, Birmingham 5. So a great start for the Brummies. Heat number 2 on the way with Jason Garrity riding in red. Ollie Greenwood goes in blue. He is the replacement for the injured James Sargent, who's here tonight. He certainly had a big knock last night at Kings Lynn. It's good to see him here this evening, and with no major damage done apart from concussion, which of course can be a big concern in itself. He'll have to take a week off with concussion, hopefully not too much more than that. The Brummies bringing in Josh Bates, the British under-21 champion, to replace the unavailable Paul Stark, who is very much one of the top fast-track riders this season, Paul Stark. But Bates comes in white and Simon Lambert goes in yellow. So Greenwood off the inside, Bates off 2, Garrity off 3 and Lambert off the outside. Heat 2 is underway and it's a good start by Garrity, and Greenwood trying to tussle Josh Bates aside. He's done so. Bates goes down on the first bend and the race now it stops. The race stops. There was a slight delay there from the referee. Greenwood bundling his way through inside Josh Bates, who came down, and Bates gets to his feet, so one would assume he's going to put all 4 back in there. Garrity made an absolute flyer. Greenwood was muscling his way past Bates, who fell, and the referee has ruled all 4 back for the restart in heat number 2. So Josh Bates coming to grief on the first turn. It was certainly a firm ride by Ollie Greenwood, but there'll be no further attention required, it would appear, and they're all going to come back round for another go at it. Well, nobody wants to see any rider injured, but I think when Coventry knew last night that James Sargent wouldn't be here tonight, the obvious call was Oliver Greenwood. He's only a couple of places behind Sarge in the draft list anyway. Josh Bates, I think, is the rider immediately below James Sargent, already picked up by the Brummies tonight. And Oliver Greenwood comes into line on the in the blue helmet colour on the inside. Josh Bates, gate 2, Jason Garrity, gate 3, and Simon Lambert, gate 4. We try again then with heat number 2. The Brummies 5-1 in front after a big maximum in the opening race. They go away for the restart tour, and this time Greenwood gets to the bank clearly in front of Josh Bates. Garrity has the advantage. Lambert tries to make it around the outside, but closed out by Greenwood, it would appear. Bates to the back. Lambert with a big sweep round the outside around bench 3 and 4. Bates is down yet again on the third bend. I think Lambert's managed to split the Coventry pairing as he goes after Garrity with a big move round the outside. Simon Lambert's been struggling in recent weeks, but he had a real go there. Greenwood trying to come through on the inside, but Lambert's done well to split the Coventry pairing there. Bates has retired from the race, and Lambert, with more pace than we've seen in recent weeks, is going after his former Rye House teammate Jason Garrity here in heat 2, now trying to switch back, and it's an encouraging ride here for the Brummies from Simon Lambert, who actually struggled here with Kent a few weeks ago in the National League. And although you would expect Jason Garrity to hang on from there, Lambert's second place I think is pretty encouraging, but he's certainly rating the Coventry reserve, who is very much one of the top fast track riders. And Lambert, who struggled, as I say, in recent weeks, has really given it a go here for all 4 laps. He's been trying to make lines inside and outside. He won't quite get to Garrity, but he did work hard to beat Greenwood. Garrity does win heat number 2. Lambert racing hard down the inside in second place. Greenwood in third, and Bates came to grief on the turn 3, and so didn't really get into the race, and Coventry grabbed a couple of points back there in heat number 2. And Garrity, who was a bit up and down last night at Kings Lynn, he was excellent at pool. He had his troubles last night at the Norfolk Arena, including a big crash where his bike actually came over the fence into the debris fence, but thankfully no harm done from that, and back to race-winning form this evening. Garrity wins heat 2, second place, and a decent ride by Simon Lambert. Ollie Greenwood was third, and it's Coventry 5, Birmingham 7. Heat 3 then, we'll see Ryan Fisher riding in red, Chris Harris in blue, it's Danny King in white and Josh Grzonek in yellow. Grzonek guesting for Ben Barker, racing for Plymouth tonight in the Premier League, and Grzonek currently with Workington in the PL this season, so he'll be facing his Comets colleague Carl Howarth later in the meeting. And for the Bees, certainly Ryan Fisher needs a good night tonight. He's had a really tough spell, particularly in the away matches. And Chris Harris, who has delayed his departure for the Czech Grand Prix tomorrow, he's missed practice, mind you. Markéta Stadium, Prague, would you ever want to practice there, really? You know exactly what it's going to be like. So, but fair play to Chris Harris for that. And he rode really well last night at Kings Lynn, looked quick, which was looked quick and on the pace and racing people, and that was exactly what Coventry have been looking for. It was it's a track that suited him definitely last night at the Norfolk Arena, and he'll hope that's the case again here tonight. Danny King in white off the inside, Ryan Fisher in red off gate 2, Grzonek in yellow off gate 3, Harris in blue off the outside, green lights on then for heat number 3. It's a great start by Danny King and a great start too by Josh Grzonek. Brummies 1 and 2 from the gate. They both swing out wide. Harris tries to go in between. Fisher blocks everyone out. It's Birmingham 1 and 2 as it's King with the advantage. It's Grzonek flying around the outside. I'm not quite sure Danny King knows that Grzonek's there, but he's made that move. Fisher and Harris swapping places themselves, and Birmingham here with the advantage in heat number 3 as Fisher comes to a stop with mechanical failure, and Grzonek coming in for Ben Barker, looking impressive. Had a poor night at pool on Wednesday when they got beaten at home by, and he's blocked out his teammate Danny King. Harris can get into play here because the Brummies here are not team riding. King is trying to go around Grzonek. Harris trying to make up ground in third place. Grzonek is racing off with the lead, but Danny King knows he's under threat from Chris Harris. He goes wide off Ben 4. Harris tries to come back on the inside. Grzonek charging clear. He's got the race in the bag, but the problem on lap 2 to 3 has put Harris back in the equation on Danny King. It's Grzonek from King. It's Harris in third trying to make his move round the outside. Now looking for a cut back on the final bend, but King's lock up almost takes Harris down, and the Brummies will get a 5-1 as a result from Grzonek and King over Harris in third place. The Coventry captain somewhat unfortunate there off the final bend. His run was blocked by Danny King, who's involved in a 5-1 for the second time tonight, and there wasn't any team riding there from Birmingham. They're just having a chat about it now, in fact, as they come back into the pits, because Grzonek had ridden a really good ride on the first couple of turns. Didn't realise that Danny King was out there with him, but he has clocked the fastest time around Coventry this season with that one at 59.9, and it's a second 5-1 for the fast skating Birmingham Brummies, who of course went close at pool a few weeks ago. So when they do get all together, they can perform, and the Coventry big guns need to sort that one out pretty quickly. Win for Grzonek, second for King, third for Harris, and it's Coventry 6, Birmingham 12. So a great start to the meeting for the Brummies. Heat number 4, Lewis Blackbird guesting for Kenneth Hansen, who is unavoidably away in Denmark tonight, racing in the Danish League. So the Bees have to use a sub-6 point rider as a guest. Blackbird is unquestionably on form, one of the best picks they could possibly have, doing well for Peterborough, doing well for Eastbourne in the fast track draft. He rides in red. It's Jason Garrity in blue going off the outside, which has not looked a particularly good gate so far tonight. It's Daniel Nermark in white, and it's Simon Lambert in yellow. And I mentioned before Heat 1 that Nermark does have a decent record round here on occasion, always has done, dating right back to his Wolverhampton days over a decade ago. He's always been somewhat in and out of the Elite League. It's his second spell with the Brummies, rode for them in 2011, went back to Kings Lynn the following year. And one of the most experienced riders in the Elite League, Daniel Nermark, and still capable, and a rather maligned signing by Birmingham by certain sections of the supporters, but very much doing his job this season in what's been a struggling Birmingham team. It's Lambert in yellow off the inside, Blackbird red off gate 2, it's Nermark in white off 3, and Garrity goes off the outside, and Lambert gets the gate, as does Nermark, and that will force Blackbird into the deep stuff round the outside to go round. He's blocked out though by Lambert. Blackbird does go round and move into the third bend. It's important for the Bees that Garrity goes past Lambert as well, but Nermark with the advantage. Garrity charging hard to try and pass Lambert. As I mentioned, they were battling in heat 2, those two, the ex-Ryhouse teammates. I say ex because Lambert left Ryhouse and since hooked up with Workington, and currently he's got an important third place here over Jason Garrity. Blackbird always expected him to go clear into second. He's got no answer to Daniel Nermark. It's Lambert now running a comfortable third with Garrity out the back, and the Bees in their situation with using a sub-6 Premier League rider and having to make a change at number 7. They really need their race reserve Garrity to be clocking up big points tonight, but if he's beaten by Lambert, that's a big result for the Brummies, who are going to extend their lead still further in Heat 4 and put the Bees under mounting pressure again at Brandon. Nermark looks really wheel perfect and is going to have a big say in tonight's meeting. They're using RR, they all get extra rides, and Nermark convincingly wins Heat 4 from Blackbird. And Garrity is late round the outside, but he can't quite make it against Lewis Blackbird, against Simon Lambert, I should say, and the Brummies, who, as I say, they went into an early lead at Poole and it was turned round in Poole's favour towards the end. Well, they're into an early lead here, big time at Brandon. They are 8 points up after 4 heats. The Bees need to find a comeback, and fast. A win for Nermark, second for Blackbird, third for Lambert, and it's Coventry 8, Birmingham 16. So once again, the Bees under big pressure around their home circuit. They have their top two who have both been 5-1 in their opening rides, and they have them on track here in Heat 5, going off 1 and 3, which does appear to be the gates of choice so far. It's going to be tough for Nico Cavati off the outside. He's not raced yet. He now faces the Coventry top two, but then again, mine goes back to this time last year when he was late arriving at the stadium. He actually missed the reserves race and then promptly turned up and beat Scott Nichols in his first ride. So Cavati has certainly shown that he can get round Brandon as well in the past. Of course, relatively recent recent re-addition to the Birmingham team is Nico Coventry. Didn't start the season, but came in when Edward Kennett was really struggling badly for the Brummies. So he rides in yellow, and the very impressive so far Danny King goes in white, who himself had a poor start to the campaign, but has just begun to turn things around in the last 2 or 3 weeks, which really you could say about the Birmingham team as a whole. Coventry have Harry Anderson going off the inside and Harris going off gate 3. So Anderson in red off the inside, King in white off gate 2, Harris blue off gate 3, and Cavati in yellow off the outside. Birmingham 8 points in front, heat number 5 on the way, green light and away, and it's a flying start by Anderson, and King and Harris contest the bend. Harris goes for the burst around the outside, plenty of pace about Chris Harris as he leads and then switches inside Anderson, and if the Bees just watch that round turns 3 and 4, they've got 1 and 2 for the first time tonight. Anderson sweeping wide around 4, Harris drops in there in second place. It's King in third, Cavati on the back, and the Bees required a 5-1 big time from this race. Danny King racing after Chris Harris to try and regain second place after a good battle in the early stages. I say the Bees really required an advantage here, because there are plenty of races later on down the card where they do look to be under some pressure, given the makeup of their team tonight and the way that the Brummies have started with the likes of Nurmark and Grzonek as well. So this will get Coventry back into contention if they take maximum points here. Flying start by Anderson, gates 1 and 3 do appear to be the best so far. Anderson looking very quick indeed as the race leads to the back straight for the final time. It's Harris in second place, it's King in third, and Cavati at the back. We'll doubtless see plenty more from Nico Cavati later in the meeting, but the Bees take a big 5-1 from Heat 5 to put them back in the meeting, with Anderson from Harris and Danny King in third place and Nico Cavati out the back. Well, that's more like it from the Coventry big guns. I mentioned 1 and 3 does appear to be the better of the gates, and that was proven once again there, it would seem, in Heat 5. The Brummies still 4 points in front. Anderson does 59.1, which proves we have a racetrack here tonight. Thank goodness for that. That is the fastest time this season. It beat the previous fastest time before tonight by a full second. So we have got track preparation staff that know what they're doing quite clearly about that. Anderson wins it. Second place Chris Harris. Third Danny King. 5-1 Coventry. It's the Bees 13, the Brummies 17. So Heat 6, it will be Ryan Fisher riding in red, Lewis Blackbird in blue, Daniel Nurmark in white, and Josh Grzonek goes in yellow. 1 and 3 once again for Coventry. Have 1 and 3 for 4 successive races. This is the second of those 4 heats, and then the Brummies get 1 and 3 for the second reserves race in Heat 9. They are 4 points in front, 17 over 13. They as I say, they came close at Poole and got a thoroughly deserved point. They were then very close at Bellevue as well for the first half of the meeting before fading towards the end. It's certainly a big improvement from some of their displays in the first month when they were mullered at Wolverhampton on opening night. They were hit for 60 at home by Kings Lynn on Good Friday, and they've had some. I think they had a huge defeat too at Lakeside as well. So certainly a different Birmingham team to that here tonight. It is Lewis Blackbird here in blue off the inside for the Bees. Josh Grzonek in yellow off gate 2. They are close on gates 1 and 2 as well. Fisher in red off gate 3. And Nurmark will be trying to go off the outside, although I think he was trying to be a bit too close to gate 3 there. And he's now switching right across to mid-grid there on gate 4. Fisher and Blackbird, two very renowned hard men of the sport on gates 3 and 4. Birmingham lead by 17 points to 13. Here we go, where the green light comes on. Blackbird lifts finally off the inside, and the Brummies fly away with Grzonek and Nurmark. So they've done it off the gates that didn't appear to be the gates of choice as well, because Nurmark makes it off gate 4 with Grzonek in second place. Fisher, the big run round the outside, and that is a horrible, horrible crash involving Ryan Fisher and Josh Grzonek up on the 4th bend. They both go absolutely flying. Ryan Fisher quite clearly into the back of Josh Grzonek there, and that is a very nasty accident indeed there. Fisher will obviously be disqualified, but let's hope the riders are okay. Huge hit for Josh Grzonek from behind as Fisher took a big handful into the 3rd bend and just ploughed into the Birmingham man, and that will quite clearly be the rider in red disqualified. But our thoughts with the riders, because they both went into the fence a ton there on that 3rd and 4th bend. And Ryan Fisher, a man under pressure quite clearly, because he's struggling badly with machinery, form and confidence at the moment, and I suspect unfortunately that was a misjudgment by Ryan Fisher into the bend. He had a bit of speed going, but far too much drive up on turns 3 and 4 into the back of Grzonek. He would have known nothing about it, and he also took a very hefty trip into the fence as well. The red light is on for the disqualification of Ryan Fisher. Completely the correct decision by referee Dave Robinson, but thoughts obviously go out to the 2 riders down there. A very heavy crash indeed on the 3rd and 4th bends of heat number 6.
There we go, and Josh Grodzinek is also up on his feet, ladies and gents. Took a hell of a smack to the post there, looks like his eyes all shaped.
Well, it's very good to see that both riders are up and about. Ryan Fisher has walked into the first medical vehicle that's about to pull away. I think Josh Grodzinek might take a ride back in the ambulance as well. They've both taken a big knock there up on the third and fourth bend. We know these guys are tough, these speedway riders, so we wait and see whether we're going to see them again in the meeting. The fence has got plenty of repair work to be done as well, but the main thing is that very surprisingly, but thankfully, both riders are able to walk into the attendance vehicles after that nasty crash in H6. So a very lengthy delay, understandably, for both attention for riders and also for fence repairs. Both riders have been withdrawn from the meeting, Ryan Fisher and Josh Grodzinek, both heading to hospital for checkouts. Ryan Fisher with shoulder complaints, Josh Grodzinek with facial injuries. The effect of that on the meeting is that although Birmingham will be favourites to extend their lead here in H7, with obviously with Fisher disqualified, it does put the Brummies up against it because they're already using rider replacement. They cannot use injury rider replacement, so they have to cover Grodzionek's remaining rides and indeed the rider replacement ride he would have taken with reserves. So although Coventry are behind in the meeting, they feel they've got a chance of getting back into it now, but both so depleted at this stage, it's a case of really who can keep themselves together, it would appear, as Lewis Blackbird lines up on the inside here for this restart of Heat 6. It's Simon Lambert taking the place of Josh Grodzinek in yellow off gate 2, and it's Daniel Nermark in white off 4. Coventry, of course, will get IRR for Ryan Fisher as they get away, and it's a great start by Blackbird to outgate both Lambert and Daniel Nermark. Blackbird takes the big handful around the outside. Nermark has switched back. Blackbird went too wide. Lambert tries to come down the inside, but Nermark has picked his way through very neatly because Blackbird made a great start from the inside but went too wide on bends 1 and 2, and that allowed Nermark to switch back, and Nermark, you would think now, should be able to go clear and get his third race win of the meeting. That was the first time tonight he's missed the start. Nermark's been making some absolute flyers and have made it in the initial staging of that Heat 7, where in Heat 6 I should say, when Fisher hit Grodzionek on the third bend. So this is the outcome, the race outcome you expected. Really looking at the way it's gone so far, Daniel Nermark looking very fast once again and convincingly in front. Blackbird working hard in second, and he'll probably be in line for an extra ride as well as he chases hard on Daniel Nermark, and notably gaining in place Blackbird as the race goes on. Lambert in third place picking up the point that's on offer to him, and the Brummies get a 4-2 in heat number 6 to go, 6 points in front, but now they are left covering for their injuries as they get the 4-2 with Daniel Nermark the race winner, the second place Lewis Blackbird, and the third place was Simon Lambert. So a 4-2 to Birmingham, who have had 4 of the 6 heat winners so far, and they now lead by 21 points to 15. But as I say, there is now some pressure on Birmingham with already using rider replacement. It does restrict their options. Coventry 15, Birmingham 21. So Heat 7, it will be Kyle Howarth riding in red, Oliver Greenwood in blue, Nico Cavati in white, and Josh Bates goes in yellow. So the situation with the rider replacement is that because Coventry were not using rider replacement in the first place, they can use the IRR for Ryan Fisher, which means rides are available for Kyle Howarth and Lewis Blackbird, or a reserve if they choose to use, but I think they'll use those two anyway in the remaining rides of Ryan Fisher. Because Birmingham are already using ARR, absent rider replacement, for Adam Skornitsky, they cannot use the IRR, so they must be there was the option for Birmingham to book a guest or use rider replacement, and the point's been we've seen very little usage of rider replacement this season, specifically for this reason, because if you lose a rider during the meeting, you can't then use the IRR, so Birmingham may well regret in the end not booking a guest for tonight's meeting. Heat number 7, Howarth off the inside, Cavati off 2, Greenwood 3, Bates 4, away they go. Good start by Howarth, who gets the bend in front, and Bates goes flying around the outside. Cavati out of shape on the inside, Bates with the third over Greenwood, but Greenwood bundles down the inside and gets past Josh Bates. That's pretty important, and here goes Nico Cavati with the run round the outside, lifts, and Greenwood lifts as well, shoots across the corner and still maintains his third place. That was a wild moment there for Greenwood, an even wilder one there as he picks up and goes down, and that's a point drop for Coventry. Greenwood had recovered on turn 4, but he picked up on turn 2 and went down. Thankfully he's okay. I think he's inflated himself as well as he comes off the circuit, but it's Kyle Howarth over Nico Cavati And good news for Coventry is the form of Howarth here, who was off the pace in his first ride, but looking much more like the rider we've seen around Brandon so far this season as he race leads in Heat 7. But the Brummies will be happy enough to share the points because Greenwood had got the third place over Josh Bates, but he came down heavily on the second turn, didn't hit the fence thankfully. Hopefully there's not too much bike damage too, but Carl Howarth comes round for an impressive victory in Heat 7 for the Bees. Howarth wins it, second place Cavati, third Josh Bates, and a 3-3 in an eventful Heat 7 with Greenwood working hard to pass Bates in the early stages, but then he got big lift off bend 4 and did well to control it, but then he got even bigger lift on turns 1 and 2 on lap 2, and that time he couldn't hold it. Thankfully he's okay. I don't think he's particularly happy about it. Well, why would you be, as he walks back into the pits via the second bend gate. So no points there for Greenwood. A shared heat in 7 as Howarth wins it from Cavati with Bates in third place, and it's Coventry 18, Birmingham 24. Well, an interesting setup here at the start line. Birmingham currently taking gates 1 and 4. But Daniel Nurmark has just done a fine job of preparing Carl Howarth's gate for him on the inside and has now been shifted across the gate too. So a bit of miscommunication there in the Birmingham pits. This is a big race for Birmingham Heat 8. They're 6 points in front and they've got Nurmark and King going here, which are their big two who can win the meeting for them here tonight. And they can put their team into a 10-point lead if they get a 5-1 in this race. They've both ridden well so far. King was 5-1 by Anderson and Harris in Heat 5, but apart from that being involved in 2 5-1s. Nurmark with 3 wins out of 3. Coventry pressure on Carl Howarth, who takes the injury rider replacement ride for Ryan Fisher, and his partner is Lewis Blackbird, who will be the other rider who would take the IRR ride. So there's no decision to make there as far as Coventry are concerned. They had to go this way round. Howarth just made it off the inside in Heat 7, and he'll need to make a big start here in Heat 8 because the opposition, with all respect to Nico Cavati, the opposition is stronger in this one with Nurmark in white and King in yellow. So Howarth off the inside in red, Nurmark in white off gate 2, Blackbird in blue off gate 3, and King in yellow off the outside. As I say, huge race this here for Birmingham, because if they could go 10 points up here, Coventry can't use a tactical ride in Heat 9. Away they go. It's a good start by Howarth off the inside, a dreadful start by Danny King off the outside. Would you believe Coventry have got 1 and 2 here as Blackbird screams round the outside. Up the inside goes Nurmark to pass Howarth round bends 3 and 4. Howarth goes too wide and will probably go to the back then, it would appear, as King comes through, but it's Blackbird, a real ace in the pack here, who's got the advantage. It's Blackbird from Nurmark, it's King in third place, and it's Howarth at the back after making the start and then getting it all wrong on turns 3 and 4. So a real up and down night for Carl Howarth so far, but Blackbird set to negate damage here for Coventry if he wins this one, because he made a lovely start and King got a shocker from the outside, which hasn't been a particularly good gate, seemingly apart from when Nurmark's off it. And Blackbird coming in for Kenneth Hanson is very much proving his worth here, because if Coventry, I think they were obviously looking for Howarth to win it, but Blackbird is making a big habit of beating established top 5 riders with Eastbourne this season, and if he beats Nurmark and King round Brandon, which he's about to do, that's a stunning ride by Lewis Blackbird to win Heat 8 for Coventry. Blackbird over Nurmark, King in third place. Howarth at the back will be frustrated because he was there at the front himself on the first half lap before going wrong. But Blackbird, well, they call him the beast from the east at Cradley last year at Dudley when he had such a great season. It really lifted his career in Speedway. He's now flying with Peterborough in the Premier League and with Eastbourne in the Elite, and that's a big win for him at Brandon for the Build-Based Bees tonight, and he's got more rides to come as well. Blackbird wins Heat 8 for Coventry. Second place, beaten for the first time tonight, Daniel Nurmark. Danny King in third place, and it's Coventry 21, Birmingham 27. Heat 9 then is the second reserves race. It's Jason Garrity and Oliver Greenwood for Coventry, Josh Bates and Simon Lambert for the Brummies, who have got to cover a ride of Josh Grizonek in Heat 10 and Heat 13, and a couple of rider replacement rides, one of which will go to Cavati in Heat 13. But reserves will need to cover races, and Coventry will have a chance here if their big guns fire in the closing part of the meeting. No question about that. 6 points down. There's not much room for error for Coventry here, but there certainly is a route back in for them if they can take it. But can Bates and Lambert now, who have certainly Lambert's had his moment so far, can they get the better of Garrity and Greenwood in Heat 9? It's Bates in white off the inside, Garrity in red off gate 2, Lambert yellow off gate 3, and it's Greenwood back after that fall in his last outing. He goes in blue off the outside. So heat 9, the Brummies 6 points in front. They're keeping that gap despite the loss of Grzonek so far. Green light and away they go, and Garrity lifts badly off the start line. He is beaten to the first bend by Bates and by Lambert, who goes round the outside, and Garrity got to get in play here, and he doesn't. Birmingham League 1 and 2 here in heat 9. This is a big one for the Brummies at the moment as things stand, with Lambert going round the outside and Garrity can't get anything together at the moment. Bates in second place. Lambert goes round the outside. Lambert looking a totally different rider to how he has done so far this season for the Brummies. His best night so far by a mile, and if it stays like this, Coventry will be 10 down and they will be using a tactical ride in heat 10, which will shortly be Hans Anderson. But pressure on big time Coventry if they concede a 5-1 in this second reserves race, and that just hasn't happened. Conceding 5-1s around Coventry in the reserves races simply hasn't happened for the Bees so far this season. But it's Birmingham with Bates coming in to replace Stark. Oh, Lambert packs up off turn 4, and that's another let off for Coventry in heat 9. The meeting just twists and turns as Simon Lambert, with all the hard work done, the race in his pocket, and he's lost a lead, and Bates comes round, slowed slightly off the bend, but he wins it. Bates over Garrity with Greenwood in third place, and Simon Lambert's bike goes at the end of lap 4 when they got a clear 5-1 going, and that's rotten luck for Lambert and for the Brummies as well, because that was a 5-1 stick on every day of the week. As I say, Coventry would have used the tack ride in heat 10 if they'd gone 10 down, but they certainly prefer being 6 down than 10 going into heat 10. That is serious bad luck for Lambert as he makes his way off the circuit. Very upset, I'm sure, with that. Bates wins it for Birmingham. Second place Garrity, third Greenwood, and it's Coventry 24, Birmingham 30. So Josh Bates takes the reserve ride in place of the injured Josh Grzonek. He rides in yellow off the inside. Hans Anderson in red off gate 2 for the Bees. Danny King in white off gate 3 for the Brummies, and Kyle Howarth goes in blue off the outside. What a mixed night he's had, with a poor last in heat 1, a terrific win in his second ride. Then he made a decent first bend move, but then got it wrong on turn 3 in his third. So very up and down, and he's a bit of pressure on Kyle Howarth here off the outside, I would think, in blue. Brummies still 6 points in front, as they have been since the conclusion of heat 6. Anderson and King going off gates 2 and 3 could be a big important battle in this heat number 10. Green light comes on now from referee Dave Robinson. They fly away, and it's a good start by King, and he gets the bend in front of Anderson. Bates almost got there as well. Round the outside goes Howarth. He fence scrapes, and Bates comes through on the inside of Howarth, who goes back round him, but King's got the advantage, and they battle for third and fourth as Howarth goes wide around the third and fourth bend. Can he fence scrape his way around the outside of Bates? He can, but Danny King's got himself into the front for Birmingham after a great start from gate 3. He leads from Anderson. It's Howarth in third, but he's not for much longer, because Howarth comes to a halt, and more points thrown away for Coventry, where we saw Birmingham lose points with Lambert's mechanical failure in his previous ride. Well, now Howarth comes to a halt, and that's a double trouble for Coventry, because he'll be due out in 11, so he's not got much time to fix things, and this is going to put Birmingham into a position where they can defend this lead over the final few races, even though they're going to be weak in a few of them, because they're going to have 8 points to defend with only 5 heats to go. Perfect outcome here for Birmingham. No tacticals to come for Coventry. 8 down Coventry, unless Anderson can do something on Danny King here on the last bend. But King quick off the blocks off gate number 3, and King with Anderson pegging the inside line. King comes round and wins it. Second place Anderson. Bates hangs on for third. Howarth pushing back in, and he will have 2 on the trot, Kyle Howarth, because he will take the IRR in heat number 11, and the Bees are 8 points down with 5 heats to go. And despite the concerns for Birmingham over riders being absent with the injury to Grzonek and covering with reserves, they've now got points in the bag whereby they can cover it unless they make mistakes in the final few heats. Danny King wins heat 10, second Hans Anderson, third Josh Bates. It's Coventry 26, Birmingham 34. Well, as the races tick by, Coventry singularly failing to take race advantages. They haven't had one since heat 5. The Brummies, despite the carnage, have notched a couple of 4-2s to go 8 points in front. Now, I was talking complete nonsense during and after heat 10 when I was talking about Kyle Howarth having 2 on the trot. Of course, he took the IRR ride in heat 8, so it's Lewis Blackburn who takes it here in heat number 11, and Howarth in fact back out in heat 12, so he'll be looking to get the mechanical situation sorted by then. But in the meantime, the key now for Birmingham is Nico Cavatti, who rides in heat number 11 with a reserve. He rides in heat number 13 with a reserve, and he rides in heat number 14 with a reserve. So Nico Cavatti is the absolute key. There's no Danny King until heat 15. Nermark has one more ride to come in heat 12 before heat 15, so they now need Coventry to keep their margin intact, you would think. It's Bates off the inside taking the ARR ride. It's Harris in blue off gate 2 for the Bees. Coventry in yellow off gate 3, and Blackbird goes in red off the outside. Green lights on and away they go, and it's a great start by Harris, gets the bend, but Blackbird's missed the start. He goes for the burst around the outside but gets it wrong on turn 2, and there goes Coventry surging around the outside of Chris Harris to lead, and Coventry is stepping up to the plate for Birmingham in heat number 11 as it goes wrong for Coventry again, with Blackbird at the back trailing Josh Bates, and Harris appears to have no answer to the flying Nico Coventry, who went round the narrowest of gaps to hit the front, and you just get the feeling at this point in this heat number 11 this could well be Birmingham's night here. Coventry leads from Harris. It's Bates holding third from Blackburn, who got it all wrong. Now Harris leading in the ground big time on Nico Coventry. Harris chasing hard, trying to move up the inside. Bates hangs on to the third place, but Harris wheeling in Coventry with every turn of the wheel. He goes for the big blast round the outside. Harris puts the power on to go round Coventry off bend 4, and Harris hits the front to go round Coventry. He wheeled in enormous ground there. Harris leads the Coventry out of shape on turn 2, but he needs to get home for second place for Birmingham. They've got the third with Bates over Blackburn. Harris comes round for a superb victory, again showing there's a racetrack here tonight. Harris wins for the Bees, but it's a crucial second for Coventry, and it's a crucial third too for Bates over Blackbird to keep Birmingham 8 points in front with 4 heats to go. What a ride by Chris Harris, spectacular battle with Nico Coventry. It's the best racing action we've seen this season on a track that you clearly can pass on, and a track that Chris Harris can pass on around the outside, which is great to see. As far as the team is concerned for Coventry, they're still 8 points behind with 4 heats to go. So Birmingham will be delighted with the way that one's turned out, even though Coventry was reeled in by Harris. Great ride there by Harris to win it over Coventry in heat number 11. Real speed there as he reeled in the Birmingham man. Coventry in second place, but Bates vitally in third, making it Coventry 29, Birmingham 37. So heat number 12 then, and it's Kyle Howarth, Jason Garrity, Daniel Nermark and Simon Lambert. 37-29 to Birmingham. Can't be any complaints at all tonight about the track conditions. It's been the best racetrack around Brandon all season, no question about that. We've seen passing inside and outside, there's grip there, faster times. Harris clearly enjoying it in his last ride. But Birmingham have been making the gates and they've made fewer mistakes, and they are certainly within touching distance now of their first away win of the season. A Birmingham Birmingham club who have had a good record round here in the last few years. They have won here fairly frequently. Not sure they really expected to tonight. Obviously, both sides having to make changes. Coventry using a sub-6 rider for Hanson, but Blackburn before that mistake in his previous ride had scored 7 from 3, so he hasn't done too badly at all. Here we go with 12, Garrity on the inside. It's Lambert back after that mechanical failure last time out in yellow off 2, Howarth in red off 3, and Nermark in white off the outside. Green light on then for a big heat 12, and away they go, and a good start there by Howarth, and a good one too by Garrity. They've out-trapped to Nermark, but Howarth gets it all wrong on turn 2, goes too wide, and Nermark shoots through the gap and hits the front. Nermark goes from third to first because the Bees left a wide open target, and Nermark race leads from Howarth with Garrity in third place and Lambert out the back. Well, Howarth rode the outside, Garrity rode the inside, and Nermark said thanks very much and went between the pair after missing the start from the outside. The experienced Swede has been superb here tonight, but really Coventry going to be asking questions as to why someone, Daniel Nermark, with all respect to him, is reading off race win after race win here, because really Coventry I think would have hoped they'd be better than that, but it is Nermark who race leads heat 12 to maintain their 8-point advantage, you would think, with 1 lap to go of this race. Garrity holding third over Lambert. Howarth, I've got a feeling, is losing power here as the race goes on, so we'll see if he can get it round for the second place. Lambert again is buzzing around behind Garrity, who's not looked particularly comfortable this evening, certainly not to the effect he has been earlier in the campaign round here, and Lambert takes the big handful around the outside. There goes Lambert round the boards, and that is mighty close on the line as Lambert goes right round the boards, and I think he nicks it off Garrity, does he? Lambert picks up a point off Jason Garrity. Can you believe what you've just seen? The win comes to Daniel Nermark, who gets his 4th win of the evening. The second place goes to Kyle Howarth, and Jason Garrity picking the inside line. Lambert took an enormous run round the outside, and we're waiting to get confirmation on that one, because the scoreboard's showing a 3 apiece at the moment, but we'll wait confirmation on that. But Lambert, the big run round the outside, and we'll await the referee's verdict. Garrity confirmed in third place for the Bees, where it looked mighty close. From head on, I thought that Lambert had nicked it on the line, but Garrity gets it. Howard finishing the race with no steel shoe, and Nurmark limiting damage again for the Brummies. Great ride off turn 2 by the Swede to win it, and Birmingham still 8 points in front, and now only 3 heats to go. So the gap remains 8 points with 3 heats to go, and Coventry have simply failed to make any progress whatsoever, despite the depleted nature of Birmingham with Grzonek, who, let's not forget, Grzonek was looking impressive when he won his first ride and was on for a paid win in his second. So Coventry cannot say they haven't had the opportunity with the visitors being depleted. The track has been fine. Problem for Coventry now, and they've done the hard work already this season by winning at places like Swindon and Poole, but if they blow it by losing home matches, I remember a season around about, I think it was 2001, they had a fantastic away record, but lost match after match here at Brandon. And the trouble is, the more teams that come and win here, the more confidence the other teams that are still to come will take when they come here. As I say, no concerns about the track at all tonight. It's been great. Heat 13 on the way. Harris on the inside. Cavati goes off gate 2. Anderson gate 3, and Bates off the outside. Green light for a big 13, and the Bees gate. Anderson gets it. Harris gets it, and Coventry with 1 and 2. Cavati on the inside this time. I think he'd rather prefer the outside, but Anderson sails around him into bend 3, and Coventry had to get a 5-1, and they still might not, because Anderson in big trouble as he makes a huge mistake, and Cavati goes through and takes second place from Hans Anderson. Anderson will try and peg it back on the inside, but Cavati will have the fast line around the outside. It's a big mistake by Anderson, who went from the inside to the outside and then got a face full of shale from his teammate Chris Harris, who didn't know he was there, and Cavati nicked through and took the second place. And that again is just about, I think, going to give Birmingham what they need here. Coventry had to get a 5-1 in Heat 13. They had a 5-1 from the gate. Anderson made a mistake, and now he's desperately trying to make up ground, but Cavati is crucially sat there in second place. Harris in a different postcode out in front with track conditions how he likes them. He's superb. Anderson pegging the inside line to try and go inside Cavati, who's got the fast line around turns 1 and 2 to come back at him. Anderson again pegs the inside. Harris wins it by a distance, but it's a crucial second place for Nico Cavati over Hans Anderson to limit Coventry to a 4-2 in Heat 13, when a 5-1 was absolutely what was required. Anderson lifted coming off bend 4, absolutely crucially. As he tried to regain, he got a face full of shale as well. Cavati came down the inside and pinched the point, the 2 points. Birmingham are 2 races away now. Well, Coventry need 2 5-1s to win the meeting, and you can't really see that happening as things stand. It's a great win for Chris Harris, who's certainly got conditions how he likes them tonight. Harris wins Heat 13 for the Bees, but it's second place for Nico Cavati. It's third for Hans Anderson, and it's Coventry 36, Birmingham 42. Well, the tail of the tape here, as Birmingham hold a 6-point lead with 2 heats to go, is that using rider replacement for Adam Skornicki here, they've actually picked up 8 points from the rider replacement, even though 2 of those races have been difficult ones. Obviously, Cavati would have been in line for one anyway, but they had to cover one with Josh Bates, who got a point when Lewis Blackburn made a mistake in heat number 11. So the RR for Skornicki has done fine with 8 points from 4 rides. Skornicki's been in good form this season. I think that's a fair return for him tonight. Now, the rides for Grzonek, of course, they've had to cover as well. They run a last in 13, but they got the third in Heat 10 when Carl Howarth ground to a halt. Both sides have suffered lost points, but Coventry, this result, if it is confirmed, and I think it will be, because I can't see them getting 2 5-1s, there'll be a lot of thinking to do, I would think. So, Cavati for Heat 14 in white off the inside. Garrity, who's complaining about lack of power tonight, in blue off gate 2. It's Lambert in yellow off gate 3, and it's Blackburn going in red off the outside, and it's 36-42. So if Cavati can win this race, then Birmingham will win this meeting, and Lambert has looked good as well so far tonight at times. Here we go with Heat 14, green light and away they go, and Cavati is out gate, gets to the gate bend in front of Jason Garrity. Blackburn will give it the big burst around the outside, and Garrity goes for the inside, Blackburn around the outside. And is there going to be drama in Heat 14, I wonder, as Garrity gets himself up front with Blackburn in second place. Now, does he know where his mate is? If it stays this way, it will go to a big last heat decider, unless Cavati can get up to Blackburn, who goes back around the outside. And Cavati, the hero in 13, when he pounced on the mistake by Hans Anderson, might be about to run a damaging third place here, potentially damaging anyway, because Garrity suddenly looks like he's got himself set up, well, better than he has done all night. He's race leading from Blackburn, who's been a value for money guessed in second place, and there is going to be some pressure on Birmingham, it would appear, with one race to go, because there'll only be 2 points in front unless Coventry can snatch the second place from Blackburn on this last lap. It's Garrity with the advantage by a mile. It's Blackburn in second place, now pulling clear from Coventry. It's Lambert in third place, and if the Birmingham fans were celebrating, well, they'll have to put them on hold for now, because Garrity wins heat 14 from Blackburn with Coventry in third place and Lambert at the back, and we do go to a last heat decider. And how costly by that mistake in Anderson in 13 proved to be, because if that hadn't happened, then the scores would now be level. As things stand, Birmingham still have a 2-point lead with 1 heat to go, with the fast gating King and Nermark to come, but Coventry will have gate choice for heat 15. This meeting could yet turn round in the final race as Garrity steps up big time in heat 14. Blackburn very much value for money guessing for Kenneth Hampton tonight, and it will go to a last heat decider. 5-1 to Coventry in heat 14, and it's now the Bees 41, the Brummies 43. So the meeting goes to a last heat decider at Coventry 41, Birmingham 43. Coventry have Chris Harris and Hans Anderson. Birmingham have Daniel Nermark and Danny King. Coventry with choice of gates 1 and 3, which have been the best gates to have tonight, certainly by a distance, no question about that. But King round the outside is definitely going to be a danger for the Brummies. Nermark's been making fast starts. He's got, I think, the unwanted gate too, really, in this one. Did see Garrity, of course, making an heat 14 off that. The only downside, I think, for the Brummies here is the fact that Danny King has not ridden since heat 10. He had 5 rides in the first 10 heats and has been kicking his heels since then. But Nermark has been clocking up race wins with regularity throughout the evening, and they have a 2-point lead going into this last race, so they can get one of their men to the front, or they can get one of the Bees men to the back, then that will do the job for them. I think they'll probably feel that they should have been there with already with Cavati's winning heat with Cavati's second place in heat 13, but then Cavati making a hash of heat 14 after a really good performance to that point. Harris and Anderson for Coventry, Nermark and King for the Brummies. Anderson very clearly angled in there from gate number 3, heading for that first bend. Harris then on the inside. Nermark gate 2, Anderson gate 3, King outside, green light and away for 15. It's a great start by Anderson. They've squeezed out Daniel Nermark, and Harris is there too. Nermark with the burst around the outside. Nermark tries to keep it coming. Now he'll go for the inside. Nermark throws it in on turns 3 and 4. Anderson goes back round Daniel Nermark. Nermark and Anderson collide, almost collide. Anderson goes round the outside. Harris has the advantage. It's Anderson in second place. It's Nermark in third, and the Coventry fans are cheering their riders home, because with just over 2 laps to go, they've got a 5-1 going that would turn around a remarkable meeting in their favour, and Birmingham will be distraught. King and Nermark have gone here. Harris has the advantage. It's Anderson in second place after a really strong first lap by Nermark, who threw it all on turns 3 and 4. Anderson braved it out with him, and Coventry on a 5-1 with a lap to go, and it could well be heartbreak for Birmingham. And what a good call it was by Chris Harris to do this meeting tonight on a track he's loving racing. You can see it now. Harris full of confidence, and he's going to the Grand Prix tomorrow, and he's going to the Grand Prix having led a winning Coventry team tonight. Harris wins it. Second place Anderson. Third place Daniel Nermark. Danny King at the back. How have Coventry recovered from 8 points down with 3 heats to go to snatch victory over the Brummies tonight? The Brummies will be distraught with that, but Harris and Anderson do come up with a big 5-1 in heat 13. Repentance for Anderson, who made a mistake in heat 13 which cost them a 5-1. It finished at a 4-2, but that turned out to be important, and after an extraordinary meeting at Brandon, the Bill-based Bees are winners. They only led once all night, and it came in heat 15. It's Chris, Bomber, Harris and Hans Anderson with the big 5-1 for Coventry, and Chris Harris is back. Hashtag the Bomber is back. He was superb at Kings Lynn last night, and he's been immense here this evening after conceding a 5-1 in his first ride, unbeaten since then. Chris Harris back at Brandon. Anderson with a crucial ride against Daniel Nermark, who put it all in there on the third bend. Anderson went back round him, and the Bees have won this local derby by 46 points to 44.
Joining us now, it's the end of the meeting. We've got Chris Bomber Harris, and what a superb end to the meeting for the Coventry Bill-based Bees. Never in front during the meeting, but then you take it in the last heat.
Yeah, it was a tough night. Both sides obviously hit with injuries before we had absence because of injuries and that, and then them as well, and then obviously the crash there, and it was a hard night, but we pulled it back in the end.
A skipper's role tonight, keeping everybody upbeat because you were chasing and chasing and chasing.
Yeah, well, that's part of my job being the skipper. You know, I had a good night yesterday. I was happy with it, and tonight the track was good. New track man's done a good job for once, so you know, we're giving him a bit of praise this time.
We've got the new track man here. Do you want to come on in, Colin, as well? Colin's here with us tonight. Colin Pratt, who's our new track guy, and I know that the boys are delighted to have him here. Something a bit special out there tonight.
No, I've never seen it with Steve doing the track and that, but no, I think it rode good tonight, and that once they got used to it, and they used the dirt on the outside a bit. As I say, I think it's the best time I've seen him go around people like the old times. Like I mean,
2 years now, like that.
You looked good. Is it all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're just saying about the starts being more even, but I can't.
You can't do that all at once.
First day on the job, it's not bad, is it?
No, not bad.
And really, Bomber, how nice it to see Colin Pratt back in the Coventry pits.
Oh, it's always good to see Colin. You know, he's got you know, I've got a soft spot for Colin. Really, he's the one that brought me to the club, and you know, I always try to look out for the other boy. He's getting on now, so I always make sure he's safe, and you know.
And as a team manager, he was always a big old softie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he put that hard face on, but you know, underneath he was, you know, he's like a little pussycat. He's soft.
You made a special gesture to Coventry tonight to be here, obviously giving up on the Grand Prix practice today to make sure that you're here to sort of represent Coventry and play a skipper's role.
Yeah, well, you know, I need meetings, and you know, it's been tough. You know, I spent a lot on bikes, and you know, not earning enough. So you know, one was obviously Coventry's close to my heart, and I wanted to represent them, being captain. Two, it's, you know, I can't keep forward missing meetings because you know I don't get paid if we don't race, as you know, and I thought it'd do me good, you know, to come in. I've had a good night's racing, so I can go in tomorrow full of confidence and buzzing that we finished on a good night.
Well, on behalf of all the Coventry fans and management, mate, cheers for you being here tonight, and all the best for that GP tomorrow.
No problem, thank you very much. Cheers.
So what a meeting it was. Coventry 46, Birmingham 44, and the scores for Coventry: Hans Anderson 9+1, Kyle Howarth 5, Ryan Fisher no score, Lewis Blackbird 9+1. What a performance by him. Chris Harris 12+1, Jason Garrity 9+1, and Oliver Greenwood 2+1. For the Brummies, Daniel Nermatt scored 15, Danny King 9+2, Nico Cavati 7, the unlucky Josh Grzonek scored 3, Josh Bates 6+1, and Simon Lambert scored 4. What a meeting it was. Eventful, incident filled, great track conditions, a stunning showing by Chris Harris for Coventry, and Birmingham do get a point for the meeting, which is the least they deserved, but Coventry get 2 in a dramatic finale. Coventry 46, Birmingham 44, and that's all from us tonight on Clean Cut Sports. See you next time. Good night.